Okay, so hello everyone, my name is Adarsh and in today's video we are going to create a short and simple application using .NET Framework. As you guys saw in the title of the video that we are going to create a simple application using .NET Framework. Okay, so before we start the video, as everyone says to like the video and subscribe to the channel, I'd like to repeat the same thing. So please, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more informative content. Okay, so we won't waste much time explaining much things. Okay, so we need to start instead of wasting much time. So first of all, what you need to do is you just need a clean system. That would be much better because we don't want to mess with things. Okay, so instead of messing with things, just try to get a clean system or get a virtual machine, same as I did. It's just basically a VM I created in order so that I can demonstrate you guys how things work. Okay, so now open your browser, and then first of all we are going to install Visual Studio in order to use the .NET Framework and create our first application. So basically I use Visual Studio, not any other software developing platform. Okay, so first of all we need to install the download Visual Studio. Okay, not the code one, the direct Visual community version of Visual Studio we need to download. Okay, so here we have the 2022 Visual Studio, and now we are going to install the community version of the Visual Studio. Okay, so now as you can see, the installation package has been installed over here, and now we need to configure it inside our computer. Okay, so now we are going to click on it and then we are going to install it over here. Okay, so click on yes, and then as you can see, before we get started, we need to set up few things so that you can configure your installations. Now let's configure it. Click on continue, and then this will start to install and get things ready so that you can configure Visual Studio on your computer. Okay, so now let it allow it to configure it on a computer, and once it's done, it will pop up a big window where we'll be installing .NET Framework dependency in our computer. Okay, so now it's done, and as you can see that the window is launched over here, and now it shows a lot of here dependencies over here and programming languages over here. Okay, so for desktop development, as you can see, there are variety of options like .NET desktop development, WinUI application development, mobile development with C++. So we don't need those type of dependencies. We just need .NET desktop development, because in today's video we are going to develop a program, simple program using .NET Framework. Okay, so a simple GUI application we're going to create, not a console application, because console applications are basically easy and not that difficult. But in today's video I'm going to make things easier for GUI applications, and we'll be showing you how it basically works. Okay, so now just click on install here, just check this and click on install, and this file is 7.69 GB huge, and then it will start to install. So it will take a bit time to install because the file is around 7.69 GB, so we have to wait a bit. And once it's installed, I'll be showing you how we'll start with this. Okay, so now sorry, let's wait a bit, and then once the installation is done, we are going to create our first program. I've been saying this from past okay, so now let's just wait. Okay, so as you can see, this is installed, and now we are going to launch our Visual Studio. Okay, so now just click on launch and it will launch your Visual Studio over here, and once it is launched, you will see a window like this. Close the background task, close the other background task as well, and then .NET is installed inside our system. And first of all, what we need to do is we'll be creating a simple folder. Right click, create a new, click on new and click on folder, and just going to rename it to like my test application, or choose any name of your choice. Okay, so now my test application. So how we are going to start with these things? Okay, so now you will be clicking on create a new project, and then you have to choose .NET Framework window form app .NET Framework. Okay, so as you can see there we have window forms app, but we are not going to use this. We are going to use window forms app .NET Framework. Okay, so click on it, click on next, and then choose the location, and the location will be my test application folder or any folder, whatever folder you create. Okay, so now just rename the solution of whatever you want to. Now let's just let it be window form app, and now click on create. Okay, so now this will create a simple form which you can design and make changes to it and add codes to it, and you can shape your application in that way. Okay, so basically this is the complete environment of your Visual Studio. Okay, and just close this, we don't need. Okay, we are going to stretch this out so that it looks a bit better and big, and we are going to click on over here. Okay, so it asks for sign up. Okay, we don't need to sign in, just click on Solution Explorer and you will see this assembly part. This is basically called the assembly. Once this is compiled, this will look something like this, as I showed you guys in DNSpy in previous video. Okay, so basically this is a form. This is basically the display of your program. So click on it, you can drag and make it wider and or longer. Okay, you can just resize it as you wish. Okay, so now once it is done, now we are going to bring the toolbar over here so that we can add multiple buttons and other type of controls to our form application. Okay, or we can change the color of our form. And now first of all, we are going to click on view. As you can see in the left side, left corner side of your Visual Studio, you will see an option called tool, view, and then from there you can choose the option toolbox. Okay, so now we are going to drag the toolbox over here in the somewhere in the center, and then we are going to use some tools in order to create our application. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to create a beautiful GUI, or the graphical user interface, for our program at the moment. Okay, so for making GUI, we have some of the already inbuilt controls over here which we can use, but we are going to use some premium ones. So what we are going to do is we have to install some dependency. So for basically for like creating GUI, I basically use Guna, because that has good support and that has like good designs in it. Okay, so now we'll click on browse and then we'll search for Guna UI library. Okay, Guna UI, search for Guna UI over here, and then as you can see, this is Guna UI 2, and click on it and then swipe it over here and then click on install over here, and this will install the Guna UI library to our program. Okay, so the NuGet package will be installed in the program folder, and then we'll be able to use Guna with our program. Okay, so now as you can see, Guna library is embedded in our program, and now what we have to do is we have to click on form1.cs and we'll be directed to our form. Okay, so now how we are going to make things go now. Okay, so first of all, we are going to stretch this out. As you can see, this thing has been installed over here, so just click on it and things will be stretched over here. So as you see, this is the blank application right now over here. So what you need to do is, first of all, we are going to choose Guna to borderless form. Okay, so now click on this Guna to borderless form and bring the mouse over here and click on it, and now as you can see, there it will pop up for a Guna. Basically Guna is free to use, you don't need to buy the license, but if you feel, you can buy it for using some of the premium templates and buttons and other type of stuff. Okay, but you can use it for free as well. So as you can see, this look has been totally changed. So now basically what we are going to do is how we are going to make changes and how we are going to shape our application, how we are going to build it, and how we are going to execute it. Okay, so first of all, as you can see, this is a Guna 2 button option. Okay, Guna 2 button control. So we'll click on it and we'll just click over here on our window form, and as you can see, this is a button on our application. So as you can see, it's written Guna 2 button on the button 1 on this button. So what we are going to change this text, we are going to click this option on the right side of a Visual Studio, and then we are going to simply, okay, not the name, we are going to find the text modifier. Okay, we have to look for the text option over here, and we'll find it somewhere over okay, over here. Okay, so click on it and then just change it to test button. Okay, and as you can see the text on the button is changed. And now as you can see this our simple application is ready. So the function of this application is nothing at the moment. We have just a form and a button placed over here. So now in order to build this application and release it, we are going to choose release over here, and then we'll click on build and then click on build solution. Once this is done, as you can see in the console window here it says build started, and then as you can see build completed at 12:12 and took 0.05.252 seconds. Okay, so now in order to run this application, we are just going to make this window shorter, and then this is the folder where we created our application. We'll go to window form app, we'll go to bin, and we'll go to release folder. As you know that we have released this application. Okay, so we'll go to release folder, as you can see we use the Guna library, so the DLL or the dependency is here, and then this is the compiled executable file. As you know that these are the code and this is the compiled version of this particular code. Okay, so when we execute this, you see the application in real time executing inside the memory of your computer. And this was just the design which we created in Visual Studio. Let's minimize this, and this is the real application we just created. Okay, so the function of this application is nothing at the moment. So now let's add some function to this application to understand things in a more better way. So you must be thinking that why this option is baseless icon, why this has baseless icon. So we need to add icon to this, and how we are going to add icon is, okay, so now let's close this. First of all, we are going to add some function to this button. Okay, so just click on this button, double click, and you will be seeing some codes. Okay, so you saw some code. When you click on that button, like when you click on this test button over here, you will see the area where you'll have to add your code. Okay, so it says private void Guna to button 1 click. So this is basically the click event. So what happens when this button is clicked? So basically, as you can see, there is no code related to that. So nothing will happen if you click that button. So in order to make something happen, what we are going to do is we are going to add just a simple line of code. Okay, so we are going to write message box dot okay, spelling is wrong. Message box dot show. Okay, show the message box when this button is clicked. Okay, so message box dot show, this is a test application for learning purpose. All right, and then we'll just close this. And so when this button is clicked, this code will be executed, and according to this code, this should display a message box, show a message box stating the message, this is a test application for learning purpose. Okay, so now once I've added this code to that button, now when we'll go to form1.cs, now as you know that we have added a function to this button. So now let's again build this. Okay, so now this has been built. So now we'll minimize it. As you can see that this is again a fresh build which was created on 12/25, and now it's 12/25. So now let's execute it. So when we tested it last time, that this button had no function, but when we'll test it now, when we'll click on test button, as you see, this will display a message box saying this is a test application for learning purpose. So basically we added some feature, or we added some we added some click event to this button. So now as you know that this button is basically now functioning. So now let's add some more function and some more button in order to understand better. Okay, so now we'll be creating an exit button over here so that we can exit the application. Okay, so now let's just add some picture box. Okay, so now let's choose from the list over here Guna to image button. Okay, so now let's choose image button and click over here. Let's keep this image button over here, and then let's install a close button. Okay, so now just open your browser and search over here close button. Okay, so now we are going to use this simple close button. Just save this image on your desktop, and then As you see, this is the simple picture box button. Okay, so now we'll click on this short place and then we'll choose the button, import it, and then we'll click on open, and then we'll click on OK. So once it is imported over here, as you can see, the image is successfully added over here. Okay, so now we'll just minimize it and we'll keep it at the end of the right hand side corner. Okay, and now once this button is added over here, we are going to simply build this. Okay, so we have just added a button but has not added any type of control to this. Okay, so we have not added any sort of control to this button. So now what we are going to do is we are going to test what has happened. Okay, so now we'll execute this, and as you can see that this button has been successfully added over here, but when we click on this button, nothing happens cause we have not added any type of control to this button. Okay, 1 second. So sorry, we have not added any type of or any sort of click event to this button, so nothing will happen. So now let's add some click event to this button. We'll go to Visual Studio, we'll click on this button 2 times, and as you can see, private void image button, click 1 event action, there's nothing. Okay, so we are going to add some code related to this. Okay, so we are going to add, as this is a close button, so we'll be adding some exit codes. Okay, so we'll be adding some exit codes called environment exit. Okay, and then we'll shortly add environment exit with 0 code, and then as you can see, when this button is clicked, this should exit the environment of the application and it should exit the application. So now let's build the application after we have added the code to that image. Okay, so now let's build, and now let's go to the application, and now let's click on this cross button and see if this works this time or not. Okay, so when we click this, as you can see, application is closed successfully. So this is how we created a simple application, added a button, added a click option, a click code to this button. My English is not that good, so please, I'm just trying to speak in English because I can attract more and more viewers, and that increases my CPM too. So in order to like spread in a good way and in a large audience base, I'm trying to speak in English. Okay, so now as you can see, when we click over here, this closes. So in this way you can create multiple things over here. So basically this is a simple program. Okay, and then 1 second. Okay, so I went out for a break. Now as it is done, now let's continue it. Okay, so as you can see, we developed or we just created a simple, short and simple application where we added a button, a test button, which demonstrate that whenever you click on that button, a special type of message is thrown or shown. Okay, and then we added a simple cross option, which is a close button. When you click on it, it calls an environment exit call and it closes the application. Okay, so in this way we created this simple application, but in real time, in real life, we have to create bigger applications as well. So how we are going to add much detail to the software, how we are going to make it more unique, and how we are going to automate things using it. Okay, so first of all, we are going to learn basic things. So I taught you how you can add a simple button, how you can add dependency to your project and create good UIs, good premium UIs for free. So we installed Guna library, which is used to create different type of UI. Okay, user interface for your software application. So we embedded it in our project, and then we used some Guna container buttons, and then we added some click events to the button, so that what will happen if button will be clicked. Okay, so now you can design the entire form in this way. Now let's see how you can do it. Just click on this button and click on over here. You'll see this option to change the color of the button, or change the shape of the button, or change the text of the color of the text of the button. Okay, so now if you click on auto rounded corners, you can see the size of the button is changed and the corners are auto rounded now. And excuse me, if you use transparent background, the backgrounds are now transparent. Okay, so in the same way, as you can see, the test button color is in white over here. So now if we choose black color over here, so the text on the button is changed to black. So this is how you can design the software. This work is not that difficult, but the main part is adding the click event of the software. So it depends on what type of software you are basically creating. So basically this was a simple button, a simple software where we had to do a simple type of stuff. So I demonstrated simple objects. Okay, so now for example, you are not liking the white color or the background of this software, okay, of this GUI. So what we can do is just tap on this GUI element and then come to this solution explorer, and here as you can see we have the back color control as the color white. Okay, so we'll click on over here and then we are going to choose the color. Suppose we are going to choose color purple. Okay, it's purple. So now okay, let's make it let's just turn it black. So now our form is black. So when we build this project now, okay, so as you can see build one succeeded. Okay, so when the project is built successfully, and now when you go to the project folder and when you execute the form, as you can see this software is now in black form and this test button is completely changed. It's now auto rounded corners and the test button text is in black. So when you click on, the click event is executed and then the code is loaded in the memory and the execution of the codes are taking place over there. So the message box is shown over here. Okay, now we click on close and the application exits. Okay, so this is how we created a short and simple application, and now we are going to add some more functionality to this software and to show you in more detail how we can create simple short software which has basic functions in order to understand more. Okay, so now let's add some more feature to this software so that we can learn in a more better and advanced way. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If not, then I'm really sorry, because first thing is I'm not that good in teaching things, but if you are still able to understand things in a better way, then consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more unique content. Okay, by far whatever we have learned, I guess you guys can understand everything as far as I can guess. Okay, so now let's move on to next steps. Okay, so now let's take things to a larger level. So basically this was a simple software which I made right now, and so that you guys can understand. So this software, the purpose of this software was that it had a test button. When you click on it, it displays a message box, and we created a exit button on which if you click, then the software will just exit. Okay, so now let's take it to another level and create a genuine software that has a certain type of functionality. Okay, so now what we are going to do right now is we are just going to just let it go up. We are going to delete the test button. Okay, and now we are going to create something solid. Okay, so now let's just create a solid implementation of a licensing system. Okay, so which will check if the entered username and password is correct or not. If it is correct, then it will allow user to access the main form or the main content of the software, and if it's not, then it will exit the application or prompt a message box saying that the login is wrong. Okay, so what we need to do is, first of all, what we are going to do is we need two text boxes. So we are going to stretch this out toolbox, and then we are going to enter Guna to text box. Okay, let's find for the text box. If you are not using Guna, still when you go to this all window form application, all window form option, then you are going to find here the text box option. Okay, so now let's look for the text box option, and here as you can see text box. So when you click on this text box and bring the cursor over here, as you can see a text box is created automatically over here. So basically this is a normal text box, a simple text box, and we can modify it and we can use a premium one. So what we are going to do is we are going to stretch out this Guna WinForm library, and then we are going to use Guna's text box. Okay, so the text box which Guna is providing us. Okay, so now let's look for text box, okay, text box, okay, Guna to text box. And now let's click over here. As you can see, a beautiful text box is automatically created over here. Okay, so now let's stretch out this text box a little bit, and this text box here, user will enter his username. And let's create another text box. Okay, so okay, let's create another and stretch it out and make it as the same size of the username box. Okay, so here user will enter his username, and here he will enter his password. And now let's create a beautiful button, not a simple button but a beautiful button. So now let's move on, and Guna to gradient button, we'll be using Guna to gradient button. We'll be clicking over here. Okay, so now as you can see, it says Guna to gradient button 1. So let's change the text. So now we'll come here to the solution area, or okay, and now let's scroll to the bottom and then control all and clear it. And now let's change the name of the button to check button. Okay, so when user will click on this button, it will check if the entered username and password in this section is correct or not. Okay, so how will the person get to know if the entered username, if he has to enter username in the first field or not, or if he has to enter username in the second text box or not? So we have to create a label over here. Okay, so to create a label, what we are going to do is we are going to just close this and then expand the all window form box over here. Okay, so now we are going to choose label over here. Okay, now we'll go to label, and then we are going to click over here. And then as you can see, because this text is in black and our background is black as well, so this looks invisible. So now let's change the control text to white, and as you can see, label 1 written over here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is change label 1. Okay, change the text label 1 to text user name. Okay, so now this text is changed to text username. And then as you can see, this font looks very simple, and it does not look better. Okay, so now what we can do is we can move up, and then we can simply choose a bold look and increase the size of this text. And now this look a bit better, a bit better than earlier. Now just copy this, and you can simply paste it over here, and then just change the name from username to text username to password. Okay, so now we are going to enter password in this field. So now as you can see, this clearly states that user is enter his username over here in this field, and he has to enter his password in this field, and then he has to click on check to see if the entered credentials are correct or not. So this is basically a login form type of software which we are creating, but this does not have more detail about it. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to create a label over here, and we are going to change the color of the label first to white color, and then we are going to change the text. Okay, so basically this is label 3. Okay, so now let's look for label 3 over here, text label 3. Okay, so here we have label 3. So now we are going to name it as Bytes Bits, which is our YouTube channel's name, auth system, or let's keep it simple auth system, because it's just for demonstration and not for real life use. Okay, so now let's just increase the size of the text. Let's keep it to 16, make it bold, and choose some other better fonts. Okay, so now bytes bit simple auth system. And now okay, so now let's change back color to color. Okay, so blue. Okay, blue looks so bad. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to use this color. Okay, so this look pretty good. Okay, so this is basically bytes bit simple auth system. Okay, So now let's build our project and see how our software finally looks. Okay, so we have not added, till now we have not added any control to our software. We have not added any logic to our software, so that what should happen if user enter username, password and click on check. So nothing will happen at the moment because we have not added any click event or any checks over here. Okay, no logic has been added. So I just built this software, and now let's see. Let's just go to the location where our software is built in the bin and release section, and now let's run the software. And as you can see, let's minimize the Visual Studio, and okay, now let's execute this. As you see, this is the basically same software which we just now designed in Visual Studio. So basically this is just a simple design. As you can see, this is the field where user is going to enter his username, and for example he is going to enter his password, and then he'll be clicking on this check button. So at the moment we have not added any logic, so whatever he enters that will be useless. So now let's add logic to our software so that it checks if the entered credentials are correct or not. So now let's click on this button which we'll call environment exit call and exit the application. Okay, so our design looks better design. It looks like a simple design. So basically this is just for explanation. So let's close the window. Okay, so now let's add some logic to our software so that it starts to work. Okay, so at the moment we have to add logic to this check button. So first of all, as you see, this is a text box, so we have to see what's the name of this text box. Okay, so now let's open Notepad over here. Okay, let's open Notepad over here, and then what we are going to do is we are going to see the name of this text box. Okay, so we clicked on this text box, and now let's see the name of this text box. Okay, let's just bring it in this side, and the name of the text box is Guna2 text box 1. Okay, so the name of this particular text box control is Guna2 text box 1. So let's copy this. It's Guna2 text box 1. Okay, so the first one is Guna2 text box 1, and probably the second one will be Guna2 text box 2. Okay, so now Guna2 text box 2. Okay, and now this is basically the check button. So now we have to add some logic so that when this button is clicked, it should check the entered credentials inside the username, inside the Guna2 text box 1 and Guna2 text box 2, and check if the entered credentials are correct or not. So let's just modify these two boxes a bit. Click over here, and let's keep the text as okay, user name. Okay, so this field will not be empty, this will contain the name as username, and let's keep it as bold and at 12. Okay, Control Z. Let's keep it back at 9 at regular username. Okay. Okay, and now go to password section and add a text password over here. Okay, and now this looks way more better than earlier. Okay, so now this looks clean and better and easy to understand now. As we know that this is the check button which will check if the entered credential inside this text box are correct or not. So now let's add some logic over here. So click on the check button, and now let's add some logic for the check button. Okay, so now let's add some control to this button so that it checks if the entered username and password are correct or not. Okay, so now let's click on this check button, and as this button says private void Guna2 gradient button, as we are using the gradient button, so as you can see it has been marked over here, gradient button 1 click event. So as you can see, no code has been given here. So if that button is clicked, nothing will happen. Exactly nothing is going to take place. just because there is no click event for this particular code. So we are going to write some click event for this particular code over here. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we have created two strings, okay, username and password strings. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to create string username and string password. Okay, so we have to create first string, okay, string username, okay, and string username will be as if you remember, then the name of our string username was, as you can see, the name over here is Guna to text box 1. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are just going to copy this over here, then we'll go back here, and then we are going to type string username equals to Guna to text box 1. Just paste it over here, and then just Guna to text box over here, and then you can type text so that it accepts the text from it, and then just close this. Okay, so now let's move on to the password field. Okay, so now in the same way you have to make the password field. Okay, so now just string username, and then just copy this stuff and then paste it in the same line over here, but over here we are going to use string password now. Okay, so now we have a string ready for username and a string ready for password. Okay, so now we have to add some checks to see if the entered username and password with the text, as you can see, the string username of Guna to text box 1 text. For example, if I have entered text admin in the Guna to text box. Okay, so for example, if I entered a text admin over here and password admin over here, so it should check if the entered username and password are correct or not. So we created two strings over here, okay, for username and password. Okay, so now we are going to add some checks to check if the entered username and password are correct or not. Okay, so now let's leave some gap over here, and then we are going to check. So we are going to add if statement. So let's add if. Okay, so as you can see that it started to suggest on its own. Okay, so if username, okay, so okay, if username equals to, okay, if username equals to let's keep it admin. Okay, if username equals to admin, and then just not paste over here. Okay, admin and okay, where's the and symbol? Okay, if username equals to admin and password, let's not mess with the spelling, P will be capital over here. Okay, password equals to let's keep it admin, and if password equals to admin, and then let's create a, okay, if username equals to admin, password equals to admin, and then let's just keep the bracket open. Okay, now let's make it taller. Then it should show a message box if username equals to admin. For example, if the entered text inside the username and the password field is admin and admin, or just let's keep it admin and bits over here, then it should, what should it do? Let's keep a message box over here. If the entered text inside those text box are admin in the username field and bits in the password field, then it should display a message box. Okay, message box dot show, message box showing, okay, it should display a message box showing, okay, hell yeah, the password is correct. Okay, let's close this bracket over here. Okay, so now if the entered credential are admin and bits as username and password, then it will show a message box saying that hell yeah, the password is correct. Okay, so now we added for if the username is correct, then it should show the message box saying that hell yeah, the password is correct. And now we added if statement, so it must have an else also. So now let's add an else statement over here. If the username is admin and password is bytebits, then it shows messagebox.show. Else, otherwise, if it's not, sorry, okay, else, okay, let's elongate this bracket. Okay, else not, if the entered username is not admin and bytebits, then it should throw a message box and show, okay, it should simply show wrong credentials. Okay, it should simply say wrong credentials. Okay, and then let's close the bracket over here. Okay, sorry, not in this way. Okay, in this way. Okay, so now brackets are closed. Okay, so now it should say the credentials are wrong, and the second side, what it should do is it should simply, okay, it should after saying the credentials are wrong, the application should kill itself, indicating that the entered credential was wrong. Because of that, the application closed itself because of the users because of unauthorized use. So basically, when you use an application and when you enter wrong password, you are not able to access the inner content of the software or application. So in the same way, to indicate that the entered password is wrong, we are going to simply add some exit calls over here. Okay, so now let's add some exit call. Okay, so let's add, okay, not use environment exit, let's use application dot, okay, application dot exit, and now let's add it with 0 code. Okay, and now let's just close this bracket over here. Okay, so now what we have done over here is, okay, so basically my storage was all over and I had to delete my favorite games like Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, and I am left with around 3 to 4 GB storage to complete this video, because this video is going to be too big and my phone is only having around 256 GB of storage. So I can't do anything, it just covers up all the storage. Okay, so it's around 40 to 40 minutes video, which takes up around 40 to 50 GB storage space. Okay, so now let's finish this video soon so that I can install them back and like enjoy again. After creating this video, I have to play and level up to my Clash of Clans and Clash Royale too. Okay, so now as we have written the whole code, okay, so what happens is we have created a string of username and password. So we have two input boxes, one is username and other is password. So one contains username text, as you can see, Guna2 text box 1 text, and the other is Guna2 text box. Okay, so here it should be Guna2 text box 2 dot text. All right, cause we have two text box, the name of one text box is Guna2 text box 1 and the name of the other one is Guna2 text box 2. Okay, so in the same way we have arranged it, and then we have added a check. If username equals to admin and password equals to bytebits, then it should show hell yeah, the password is correct. Otherwise it should say messagebox.show, it should show a message box saying wrong credential and then exit the application. Okay, so we can see here is an error, so we are not going to add a 0 code over here because we are not using application exit over here, environment exit over here, so 0 will not be there. Okay, so everything is ready. We have added code on this button. So when this check button is clicked, it checks the content of the username and password section field and checks if the username is admin and password is bytebits or not. If it is, then it shows the message box hell yeah, the password is correct. If not, then it closes the application saying wrong credentials. Now let's build the application and see if it functions same as or not. So now let's complete the build. Okay, the build started. Okay. I hope the screen recording is in progress and not stopped. Okay, so now let's move on to the application folder, bin release. Now let's execute application, and then let's just add random username over here and random password over here and now click on check. It says wrong credential because the enter username and password are just random and not the correct one which is hard coded inside. And so now when we click on OK, it exits the application because the credentials you entered inside are wrong and you are trying to access the application in an unauthorized way. So it closes itself, saying that you can no longer use it because the entered credential were wrong. So now what happens if we enter correct credentials over here? Okay, so basically this is a simple auth system, a simple software which we created in order to check if the entered license is correct or not. Okay, so this was the first project which you are going to make in order to learn this. Okay, so I hope you guys are going to practice this. Okay, so now let's enter the username as admin and let's enter the password as bytes. Okay, and now click on check. It says hell yeah, the password is correct because according to the code, if we see, we integrated that if username is admin and password is bytebits, then it should say yes, the password is correct. Instead of saying messagebox.show hell yeah, the password is correct, we can create another form, the main form, in which we'll have the main content of our software, and then we can add code here. Instead of showing message.show, we can add some code saying that form2.show. For example, we created another form over here, form1.cs and form2.cs. Form1.cs will be the login panel and form2.cs will have the main content of the software. So when the form1.cs will be authorized, when the correct password will be entered, it will launch form2 indicating that the entered username and password is correct, and now user is accessed to use the form2. So we'll add code over here that show form2, application.run form2. Okay, in this way. So basically this was just a simple integration in order to show you guys how applications work and how to create simple software. So in today's video we created a simple software. As you can see, this is basically a simple compiled exe which we just now compiled from Visual Studio. So when we execute this is your simple software which we created. Okay, so the purpose of this software is to check if the entered correct password is correct or not. So if you just enter random things over here and click on check, it says wrong credentials and exits. So basically this is not done. When we create a software, we add lot of error handling, we add lot of checks, we add lot of catches and if else and a lot of other things, so that if there are bugs, then it can handle the bugs and function appropriately. So that it depends, like many times due to different environments or due to different type of factors affecting the software, different type of glitches can come, different type of problems can come, and we need to add code in the software to overcome those problems and to not affect the functionality of the software. So there are a lot of things when we create software we have to add inside it so that we can come with a perfect software. So this was just a simple integration, and this was just for example that we created a simple software. So in today's video I showed you that how to create a simple software very easily. I hope that this video was not hard for you to understand, because we did everything step by step very easily. We took time, and if you watch the whole video without skipping any part of it, I can assure that you can easily create this type of software, and you can feel confident, and you can start to create other type of software by reading documentations from other websites, forums, and GitHubs, watching the source code from other developers, or analyzing the source code from other developers, using them in your project and integrating them in your project and creating your own project, improving it and coming up with a better version of the software. So you are not going to learn these things in a single day or in a single month or in a single year. It will take years, and you will be perfect day by day, month by month, year by year, and you will soon be a perfect software developer, a best one, a better one. So the only piece of advice I'd like to give you guys is to never give up, keep up, and whatever you start, try to finish it. If you are into software development field, if you are into software testing field, if you are into software engineering field, just focus on a particular field. Don't mess up with your work, and don't just try to get into everything. Okay, so try to focus on a particular type of thing, and then focus on that particular type of thing and try to be the best one in that field. If you are trying to be a best software developer, try to work only on developing software, try to find more about software developing, try to read documents, try to analyze the code of other developer, try to improve your code, try to experiment things, try to develop more other type of software, try to get more information about how things work, how libraries work. Okay, so now let's end the video over here. I hope you guys really enjoyed and learned something useful from this video. And in the next video, I'll be trying to make something more useful and better. And we are going to program something more good, more advanced, and